Hello and welcome to Richard August, the autistic Christian MGTOW, the red pill man who lights it up blue. This is today's reading from the apocryphal text of my 1599 Geneva Bible. Today we will finish the book of 1st Maccabees by reading the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th chapters. And may God add his richest blessing to this reading of his holy word. 1st Maccabees, chapter 13. Now when Simon heard that Tryphon gathered a great host to come into the land of Judah and to destroy it, and saw that the people was in great trembling and fear, he came up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together, and gave them exhortation, saying, Ye know what great things I and my brethren and my father's house have done for the law, and the sanctuary, and the battles and troubles that we have seen. By reason whereof all my brethren are slain for Israel's sake, and I am left alone. Now therefore God forbid that I should spare mine own life in any time of trouble, for I am not better than my brethren. But I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary, and our wives, and our children, for all the heathen are gathered together to destroy us of very malice. In hearing these words, the hearts of the people were kindled, so that they cried with a loud voice, saying, Thou shalt be our captain, instead of Judas and Jonathan thy brethren. Fight thou our battles, and whatsoever thou commandest us, we will do it. So he gathered all the men of war, making haste to finish the walls of Jerusalem, and fortified it round about. Then sent he Jonathan the son of Absalomus with a great host unto Joppa, which drove them out that were therein, and remained there himself. Tryphon also removed from Ptolemais with a great army, to come into the land of Judah, and Jonathan was with him as a prisoner. And Simon pitched his tents at Adidis upon the open plain. But when Tryphon knew that Simon stood up instead of his brother Jonathan, and that he would fight against him, he sent messengers unto him, saying, Whereas we have kept Jonathan thy brother, it is for money that he is owing in the king's account, concerning the business that he had in hand. Wherefore send now 100 talents of silver, and his 2 sons for hostages, that when he is led forth he will not turn from us, and we will send him again. Nevertheless Simon knew that he dissembled in his words, yet commanded he the money and children to be delivered unto him, lest he should be in greater hatred of the people of Israel, who might have said, Because he sent him not the money and the children, therefore is Jonathan dead. So he sent the children and 100 talents, but he dissembled, and would not let Jonathan go. Afterward came Tryphon into the land to destroy it, and went round about by the way that leadeth unto Adora, but wheresoever they went, thither went Simon and his host. Now they that were in the castle sent messengers unto Tryphon, that he should make haste to come by the wilderness, and to send them victuals. So Tryphon made ready all his horsemen, but the same night fell a great snow, so that he came not because of the snow, but he removed and went into the country of Galaad. And when he came near to Boscama, he slew Jonathan, and he was buried there. So Tryphon returned and went into his own land. Then sent Simon to take the bones of Jonathan his brother, and they buried him in Modin in his father's cities. And all Israel bewailed him with great lamentation, and mourned for him very long. And Simon made upon the sepulchre of his father and his brethren a building high to look unto, of hewn stone behind and before, and set up 7 pillars upon it, one against another, for his father, his mother, and 4 brethren. And set great pillars round about them, and set arms upon the pillars for a perpetual memory, and carved ships beside the arms, that they might be seen of men sailing in the sea. This sepulchre which he made at Modin standeth yet unto this day. Now as Tryphon went forth with the young king Antiochus, he slew him traitorously, and reigned in his stead, and crowned himself king of Asia, and brought a great plague upon the land. Simon also built up the castles of Judea, and compassed them about with high towers and great walls, even with towers and gates and bars, and laid up victuals in the strongholds. Moreover, Simon chose certain men, and sent them to King Demetrius, that he would discharge the land, for all Tryphon's doings were robberies. Whereupon Demetrius the king answered him, and wrote unto him after this manner: Demetrius the king unto Simon the high priest, and the friend of kings, and to the elders and to the nation of the Jews, sendeth greeting. The golden crown and precious stone that ye sent unto us have we received, and are ready to make a steadfast peace with you, and to write unto the officers, to release you of the things wherein we made you free. So the things that we have granted you shall be stable. The strongholds which ye have builded shall be your own. Also we forgive the oversights and faults committed unto this day, and the crown tax that you ought us. And whereas was any other tribute in Jerusalem, it shall be now no tribute. And they that are meet among you to be written with our men, let them be written up, that there may be peace between us. Thus the yoke of the heathen was taken from Israel in the 170th year. And the people of Israel began to write in their letters and public instruments: In the first year of Simon, the high and chief priest, governor and prince of the Jews, in those days Simon camped against Gaza, and besieged it round about, where he set up an engine of war, and approached near the city, and built a tower, and took it. So they that were in the engine leapt into the city, and there was great trouble in the city, insomuch that the people of the city rent their clothes, and climbed up upon the walls with their wives and children, and cried with a loud voice, beseeching Simon to grant them peace, saying, Deal not with us according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercy. Then Simon pitied them, and would fight no more against them, but put them out of the city, and cleansed the houses wherein the idols were, and so entered thereunto with psalms and thanksgiving. So when he had cast all the filthiness out, he set such men in it as kept the law, and fortified it, and builded there a dwelling place for himself. Now when they in the castle at Jerusalem were kept, that they could not come forth nor go into the country, neither buy nor sell, they were very hungry, and many of them were famished to death, insomuch that they besought Simon to make peace with them, which he granted them, and put them out from thence, and cleansed the castle from filthiness. And upon the 23rd day of the 2nd month in the 171st year, they entered into it with thanksgiving, and branches of palm trees, and with harps, and with cymbals, and with viols, and with psalms and songs, because the great enemy of Israel was overcome. And he ordained that the same day should be kept every year with gladness. And he fortified the mount of the temple that was beside the castle, where he dwelt himself with his company. Simon also, seeing that John his son was now a man, he made him captain of all the hosts, and caused him to dwell in Gazaris. 1 Maccabees chapter 14. In the 172nd year gathered King Demetrius his host, and departed unto Media, to get him help for to fight against Tryphon. But when Arphaxad, the king of Persia and Media, heard that Demetrius was entered within his borders, he sent one of his princes to take him alive. So he went and overcame the army of Demetrius, and took him, and brought him to Arphaxad, which kept him in ward. Thus all the land of Judah was in rest, as so long as Simon lived, for he sought the wealth of his nation. Therefore were they glad to have him for their ruler, and to do him worship always. Simon also won the city of Joppa to his great honor, to be an haven town, and made it an entrance unto the isles of the sea. He enlarged also the borders of his people, and conquered the countries. He gathered up many of their people that were prisoners, and he had the dominion of Gazaris, and Bethsura, and the castle, which he cleansed from filthiness, and there was no man that resisted him. So that every man tilled his ground in peace, and the land gave her fruits, and the trees gave their fruit. The elders sat in the open places, and consulted all together for the commonwealth, and the young men were honorably clothed and armed. He provided victuals for the cities, and all kinds of munitions, so that his glorious fame was renowned unto the end of the world. He made peace throughout the land, and Israel had perfect mirth and joy. For every man sat under his vine, and the fig trees, and there was no man to fray them. There was none in the land to fight against them, for then the kings were overcome. He helped all those that were in adversity among his people. he was diligent to see the law kept. And he took away the ungodly and wicked. He beautified the sanctuary and increased the vessels of the temple. When the Romans heard and the Spartans had knowledge that Jonathan was dead, they were very sorry. But when they heard that Simon his brother was made high priest in his stead, and how he had won the land again with the cities in it, they wrote unto him in tables of brass to renew the friendship and bond of love which they had made with Judas and Jonathan his brethren, which writings were read before the congregation at Jerusalem, and this is the copy of the letters that the Spartans sent. The senators and city of Sparta unto Simon the great priest, and to the elders, and to the priests, and to the residue of the people of the Jews their brethren send greeting. When your ambassadors that were sent unto our people certified us of your glory and honor, we were glad of their coming, and have registered their ambassage in the public records in this manner. Numenius the son of Antiochus, and Antipater the son of Jason, the Jews' ambassadors, came unto us to renew amity with us. And it pleased the people that the men should be honorably entreated, and that the copy of their ambassage should be registered in the public records, that it might be for a memorial unto the people of Sparta, and a copy of the same was sent to Simon the chief priest. After this Simon sent Numenius to Rome with a great shield of gold of 1,000 pound weight, to confirm the friendship with them. Which when the people understood, they said, What thanks shall we recompense again unto Simon and his children? For he and his brethren, and the house of his father, have established Israel, and overcome their enemies, and have confirmed the liberty thereof. Therefore they wrote this in tables of brass, and set it upon pillars in Mount Zion. The copy of the writing is this: In the 28 day of the month Elul, in the 172 year, in the 3rd year of Simon the high priest, in Saramel, in the great congregation of the priests, and of the people, and of the governors of the nation, and of the elders of the country, we would signify unto you that many battles have been foughten in our country. Wherein Simon the son of Mattathias, come of the children of Jareb, and his brethren put themselves in danger, and resisted the enemies of their nation, that their sanctuary and law might be maintained, and did their nation great honor. For Jonathan gathered his nation together, and became their high priest, and is laid with his people. After that would their enemies have invaded their country, and destroyed their land, and lay their hands on their sanctuary. Then Simon resisted them, and fought for his nation, and spent much of his own substance, and armed the valiant men of his nation, and gave them wages. He fortified also the cities of Judea, and Bethsura that lieth upon the borders of Judea, where the ordinance of their enemies lay some time, and set there a garrison of the Jews. And he fortified Joppa, which lieth upon the sea, and Gazara, that bordereth upon Azotus, where the enemies dwelt afore. And there he placed Jews, and furnished them with things necessary for the reparation thereof. Now when the people saw the faithfulness of Simon, and to what glory he thought to bring his nation unto, they made him their governor and the chief priests. Because he had done all these things, and for the uprightness and fidelity that he had kept to his nation, and that sought by all means to exalt his people. For in his time they prospered well by him, so that the heathen were taken out of their country, and they also which were in the city of David at Jerusalem, where they had made them a castle, out of the which they went, and defiled all things that were about the sanctuary, and did great hurt unto religion. And he set Jews in it, and fortified it, for the assurance of the land and city, and raised up the walls of Jerusalem. And King Demetrius confirmed him in his high priesthood for these causes, and made him one of his friends, and gave him great honor. For it was reported that the Romans called the Jews their friends and confederates, and that they honorably received Simon's ambassadors, and that the Jews and priests consented that Simon should be their prince and high priest perpetually, until God raised up the true prophet. and that he should be their captain, and have the charge of their sanctuary, and so set men over the works, and over the country, and over the weapons, and over the fortresses, and that should make provision for the holy things, and that he should be obeyed of every man, and that all the writings in the country should be made in his name, and that he should be clothed in purple, and wear gold, and that it should not be lawful for any of the people or priests to break any of those things, or to withstand his words, or to call any congregation in the country without him, or be clothed in purple, or wear a collar of gold, and if any did contrary to these things, or break any of them, he should be punished. So it pleased all the people to agree that it should be done to Simon according unto these words. Simon also accepted it, and was content to be the high priest, and the captain, and the prince of the Jews, and of the priests, and to be the chief of all. And they commanded to set up this writing in tables of brass, and to fasten it to the wall that compassed the sanctuary in an open place, and that a copy of the same should be laid up in the treasury, that Simon and his sons might have it. First Maccabees, chapter 15. Moreover, King Antiochus, the son of Demetrius, sent letters from the isles of the sea unto Simon the priest, and the prince of the Jews, and to all the nation, containing these words: Antiochus the king unto Simon the great priest, and to the nation of the Jews sendeth greeting. For so much as certain pestilent men have usurped the kingdom of our fathers, I am proposed to challenge the realm again, and to restore it to the old estate. Wherefore I have gathered a great host, and prepared ships of war, that I may go through the country, and be avenged of them which have destroyed our country, and wasted many cities in the realm. Now therefore I do confirm unto thee all the liberties, whereof all the kings my progenitors have discharged thee, and all the payments whereof they have released thee. And I give thee leave to coin money of thine own stamp within thy country, and that Jerusalem and the sanctuary before, and that all the weapons that thou hast prepared, and the fortresses which thou hast builded, and keepest in thine hands, shall be thine, and all that is due unto the king, and all that shall be due unto the king, I forgive it thee from this time forth forevermore. And when we have obtained our kingdom, we will give thee and thy nation and the temple great honor, so that your honor shall be known throughout the world. In the 174 year went Antiochus into his father's land, and all the bands came together unto him, so that few were left with Tryphon. So the king Antiochus pursued him, but he fled and came to Dora, which lieth by the seaside. For he saw the troubles were toward him, and that the army had forsaken him. Then camped Antiochus against Dora, with 120,000 fighting men and 8,000 horsemen. So he compassed the city about, and the ships came by the sea. Thus they pressed by the city by land and by sea, insomuch that they suffered no man to go in nor out. In the mean season came Numenius and his company from Rome, having letters written unto the kings and countries, wherein were contained these words: Lucius, the consul of Rome under King Ptolemaeus, sendeth greeting. The ambassadors of the Jews are come unto us as our friends and confederates from Simon the high priest, and from the people of the Jews, to renew friendship and the bond of love, who have brought a shield of gold weighing 1,000 pounds. Wherefore we thought it good to write unto the kings and countries, that they should not go about to hurt them, nor to fight against them, nor their cities, nor their country, neither to maintain their enemies against them. And we were content to receive of them the shield. If therefore be any pestilent fellows fled from their country unto you, deliver them unto Simon the high priest, that he may punish them according to their own law. The same things were written to Demetrius the king, and to Attalus, and to Arathes, and to Arphaxis, and to all countries, as Sampsames, and to them of Sparta, and to Delos, and to Mindus, and to Sicyon, and to Caria, and to Samos, and to Pamphylia, and to Lycia, and to Halicarnassus, and to Rhodas, and to Phasaelis, and to Kos, and to Sidon, and to Cortina, and to Gnidon, and to Cyprus, and to Cyrene. So they sent a copy of them to Simon the high priest. And so Antiochus the king camped against Dora the second time, ever ready to take it, and make diverse engines of war, and kept Tryphon in, that he could neither go in nor out. Then Simon sent him 2,000 chosen men to help him with silver and gold and much furniture. Nevertheless he would not receive them, but brake all the covenant which he had made with him afore, and withdrew himself from him, and sent unto him Athenobius, one of his friends, to commune with him, saying, Ye withhold Joppa and Gazara with the castle that is in Jerusalem, the city of my realm, whose borders ye have destroyed, and done great hurt in the land, and have the government of many places of my kingdom. Wherefore now deliver the cities which ye have taken, with the tributes of the places that ye have rule over without the borders of Judea. Or else give me for them 500 talents of silver, and for the harm that ye have done, and for the tributes of the palaces, other 500 talents. If not, we will come and fight against you. So Athenobius the king's friend came to Jerusalem, and when he saw the honor of Simon, and the cupboard of gold and silver plate, and so great preparation, he was astonished, and told him the king's message. Then answered Simon, and said unto him, We have neither taken other men's lands, nor withholden that which appertaineth to others, but our father's heritage, which our enemies had unrighteously in possession a certain time. But when we had occasion, we recovered the inheritance of our fathers. And whereas thou requirest Joppa and Gazara, they did great harm to our people and through our country. Yet will we give them 100 talents for them. But Athenobius answered him not one word, but turned again angry unto the king, and told him all these words, and the dignity of Simon, with all that he had seen. And the king was very angry. In the meantime fled Tryphon by ship unto Orthosias. Then the king made Sandebius captain of the seacoast, and gave him bands of footmen and horsemen, and commanded him to remove the host toward Judea, and to build up Kedron, and to fortify the gates, and to war against the people. But the king pursued Tryphon. So Sandebius came unto Yamnia, and began to vex the people, and to invade Judea, and to take the people prisoners, and to slay them. And he built up Kedron, where he set horsemen and garrisons, that they might make outroads by the ways of Judea, as the king had commanded him. 1 Maccabees chapter 16. Then came John up from Gazara, and told Simon his father what Sandebius had done. So Simon called 2 of his eldest sons, Judas and John, and said unto them, I and my brethren and my father's house have ever from our youth unto this day fought against the enemies of Israel. And the matters have had good success under our hands, and we have delivered Israel oftentimes. But I am now old, and ye by God's mercy are of a sufficient age. Be ye therefore instead of me and my brother, and go forth and fight for our nation, and the help of heaven be with you. So he chose 20,000 fighting men of the country with the horsemen, which went forth against Sandebius, and rested at Modin. In the morning they arose, and went into the plain field, and behold, a mighty great host came against them, both of footmen and horsemen, but there was a river betwixt them. And John ranged his army over against him, and when he saw that the people was afraid to go over the river, he went over first himself, and the men seeing him passed through after him. Then he divided his men, and set the horsemen in the midst of the footmen. For their enemies' horsemen were very many, but when they blew the trumpets, Sandebius fled with his host, whereof many were slain, and the remnant gat them to the fortress. Then was Judas, John's brother, wounded, but John followed after them, until he came to Kedron, which Sandebius had built. Also they fled unto the towers that were in the fields of Azotus, and those did John burn with fire. Thus were there slain 2,000 men of them, so he returned peaceably into the land of Judah. Now in the field of Jericho was Ptolemaeus the son of Abubus made captain, and he had abundance of silver and gold, for he had married the daughter of the high priest. Therefore he waxed proud in his mind, and thought to rule the land, and thought to slay Simon and his sons by deceit. Now, as Simon went about through the cities of the country, and studied carefully for them, he came down to Jericho with Mattathias and Judas his sons in the 177 year, in the 11th month, which is the month Sabbat. Then the son of Abubus received them by treason into a little hold, called Docus, which he had built, where he made them a great banquet, and hid men there. So when Simon and his sons had made good cheer, Ptolemaeus stood up with his men, and took their weapons, and entered into Simon in the banquet house, and slew him with his 2 sons and certain of his servants, whereby he committed a great villainy, and recompensed evil for good. Then wrote Ptolemaeus these things, and sent to the king, that he might send him an host to help him, and so would deliver him into the country with the cities. He sent other men unto Gazara to take John, and sent letters unto the captains to come to him, and he would give them silver and gold and rewards. And to Jerusalem he sent other to take it in the mountain of the temple. But one ran before, and told John and Gazara that his father and his brethren were slain, and that Ptolemaeus had sent to slay him. When he heard this, he was sore astonished, and laid hands of them that were come to slay him, and slew them, for he knew that they went about to kill him. Concerning other things of John, both of his wars and of his noble acts, wherein he behaved himself manfully, of the building of walls which he made, and other of his deeds, behold, they are written in the chronicles of his priesthood, from the time that he was made high priest after his father. Thank you for watching and listening. This has been Richard August, the autistic Christian MGTOW, the red pill man who lights it up blue. This has been today's reading from my $15.99 edition of the Geneva Bible, and its apocryphal text. I invite you to like and share this video with others, and to subscribe to my video channel. I also invite you to please leave a tip for me in the monetization link at the top of my BitChute channel. It will contribute to my PayPal account. And now we're going to start the second book of the Maccabees tomorrow, so I invite you back to start with me. Again, thank you for watching and listening, and I will see you tomorrow.